never figured out why nobody's ever done a documentary on Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain's the greatest physical specimen in the history of the NBA. It's not even close. I'll give you a stat. Wilt's the only guy in the same season to lead the NBA in points and rebounds, and he did it 6 times. Wilt Chamberlain 1 year decided in the 60s as a center. He was leading the NBA in everything. He's like, I'm going to lead the league in assists. This is the 60s. He's a center. He had 702 assists. He led the NBA. He led the NBA 9 times as a physical specimen in minutes played. 1 year, he actually led the NBA in minutes played, and he averaged more minutes than games are long. I'm not making that up. He played every minute of every game and then played overtime. His minute average was more than actual game time. There has never been anything like Wilt Chamberlain. Ever. There's nothing like him. Not Michael, not Russell, not Bird, not Matt. Nobody's close. Nothing close to him. There's never been a 30 for 30 on him. And he was glamorous. And he was weird. And he was flaky. And he was amazing. No 30 for 30. What's going on? I don't understand it. You're doing stuff on guys who ride bicycles and do jumps. I don't get it. I've seen 18 of them are boxing. No Wilt 30 for 30. Andre the Giant. I see wrestlers. No Wilt. The reason I bring this up is yesterday, Damian Lillard was talking, or a couple days ago, and one of the things he said, it was a Dan Patrick show, he was talking about who he would give to the MVP. And Damian Lillard said, listen, they're both great, but like in year 17, LeBron leads the league in assists. And I thought to myself, it's Wilt. Is that we always compare LeBron to Michael Jordan because they're the 2 best players ever, the GOAT. And I've said there is a Magic Johnson to LeBron where he makes everybody better. Like Michael didn't make everybody better. Magic and LeBron make everybody better. The water boy, the assistant coach, the guy off the bench. Everybody with Magic was better. You played with Magic, it was your best part of your career. But LeBron really is Wilt. LeBron is Wilt. He's the second greatest physical specimen ever. LeBron did not have a single injury of note for 16 years and was leading the NBA in minutes. That's unheard of. It's just at this level of competition with the athletes today to not have injuries for 16 years makes no sense. And now in LeBron, in his 17th year with a new roster and a coach says, I'm going to change positions and be the best in the world at the thing we want our point guards to do. Ask yourself today, you're a general manager of an NBA team. Russell Westbrook's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If I said LeBron or Westbrook's your point guard next 2 years, you'd take LeBron. And Westbrook's a first ballot Hall of Fame point guard. I mean, I may have my issues with him, but I'd vote him into the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't even, it's over. I'd vote him now, today. If he quit today, I'd vote him in. This is amazing. LeBron has, what you're looking at here is, there's going to be several chapters of the LeBron book. He's great, the chosen one. One of them is, I always said the second chapter is, physically, it makes no sense. He was the fastest and the strongest player simultaneously in the NBA for years. I mean, remember when he used to chase people down and get those blocks from behind? He was a power forward. He's the only player in my life, LeBron James, the only player in my life can guard the center, can guard the point guard. I think one of the most amazing things LeBron James ever did, he got into a playoff series. I think it was a second-round playoff series against Chicago. Derrick Rose was the MVP, and LeBron said, I'm going to guard him in the fourth quarter. And Derrick Rose was therefore atrocious. Derrick Rose literally evaporated. Michael Jordan struggled to guard little tiny quick Allen Iverson. LeBron's bigger than Michael, 35 pounds heavier, 3 inches taller, and said, I'll guard small, explosive Derrick Rose, and completely shut him down. We've never had that. That's never existed in the history of the NBA. So, here's some of the funny Wilt stats. He's got the top 4 scoring averages of all time. Not Michael. Wilt's got all of them. He once averaged 50.5, 38, 44, and 37. Only NBA player to lead in points and rebounds in the same year. He did it 6 times. Here's the other one. Wilt had a 100-point game. We know that. He had 5 70-point games. Wilt had 32 60-point games. Kobe's next. He had 6. Folks, there was no three-pointer then. How? It doesn't make any sense. So when I look at LeBron, I see Wilt. And I think Damian Lillard really capsulizes what I thought. This is why I'd give LeBron the MVP. 17th year. If you're asking Giannis to play point guard, and he then leads the NBA in assists, LeBron's become a little bit of a victim of LeBron. And Jordan was like this too, is that you start watching Jordan's documentary, and it's like, his bad games, he has 28. Like his flu game is a down game. Remember what Jerry Sloan said after the flu game? I didn't know he had the flu. He was the best player on the floor. I didn't know he had the flu. I mean, we look at the flu game, we're like, if guys have flus all the time. Jordan was still the best player easily on the floor. I always tell the story. I saw Michael Jordan in Portland, his last game in Portland. And Portland was pretty good. They had Bonzi. Well, they had good players. He was the best player. I think he had like 35, best player on the floor. And Michael was just limping to the end. Kawhi Leonard is very unique. He doesn't talk. He's got no style. He's great. He's got no shoe deal. I mean, he literally chose the Clippers over the Lakers. He didn't get along with Popovich. They sent him to Canada. His laugh is weird. He's different. He's not like glamorous Michael Jordan or talkative verbal LeBron James or smile every time you saw him Magic Johnson. He's not like our stars. He's much closer to John Stockton, who hated the media. But as of this morning, so I am really in on this thing. So as of this morning, there are, he's starting to get into clubs that nobody else in the league is in. Now, the NBA's got, 13 guys a team, 30 teams, thousands of players in its history. And I have said, if Kawhi Leonard in 2.5, 3 months is holding up a trophy, is holding up the championship trophy, he's a top 10 player in the league all time. I'm going to say it today. He's a top 5 player. He's a top 5 player of all time. Here's why. You tell me it's championships. You tell me this is winning matters. Okay, winning matters. As of this morning, he's in this club. This is a very elite club. In the history of the NBA, you've been a finals winner and MVP with 2 different teams. Kareem, LeBron, and Kawhi. Now, let's just talk about that for a second. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest big man in the history of the league. He's the leading scorer in the history of the league. He created the shot that is, without question, the most unstoppable shot, the skyhook, in the history of the league. You couldn't block it. The second guy is LeBron James, first or second best player ever. The third is Kawhi Leonard. So I would say this is a fairly elite club. Think about how many great players there are. Michael Jordan's not in that list. Magic Johnson's not in that list. Larry Bird, Jerry West, Tim Dunn, all the great players. He wins this year, he's in that club. Okay. So here's another club, the super elite club, where you've been a finals MVP and a defensive player of the year. Not a lot of guys in the NBA are great defenders. There's about 5, 6, 7 guys every year in the league that are really good defenders. Michael, Akeem, and Kawhi Leonard. So that's that club. So you dominate the finals. You're the best player in the biggest games. You're also the best defensive player in the year. That, by the way, wasn't that always the thing with Jordan? You needed a stop. You needed a shot. That was Michael. But we're not done. Now we're going to go to the VIP Elite GOAT Club, where you've been the best player in the finals, MVP, a defensive player of the year, and you've been an MVP in the All-Star game, which is the world's best basketball players, and you're the best one there. Michael and Kawhi. Bruh, how many more clubs you want? How many more clubs you got to be in? You notice who's in these clubs? The 10, 12 best, all the guys he's in the clubs with. Michael, Kareem, LeBron, Akeem. Those are all top 10, top 12 players. How many more clubs you want? Now, people get into this. Well, Nick Wright yesterday, it was very sad, yelled at me. He doesn't score enough points. Hey, Colin, the scoring day. Nick Wright yesterday.
Do you know where Kawhi Leonard ranks in NBA history in points? I'll answer it for you. You don't, because no one does, because the rankings only go through 250, and he ain't in the top 250, Colin. I got 3 names for you. Wesley Matthews, Marvin Williams, and Jeff Teague. Those 3 all-time greats have all scored more points in their career than Kawhi.
So scoring now is the barometer. Do you know the top 15 all-time scoring list in the NBA includes Elvin Hayes, Moses Malone, Dominique Wilkins, and Paul Pierce? So it's scoring now that matters. By the way, Melo is 17th. And nobody likes Melo. He's 17th. Think about that. There's about 15 guys a roster. Melo's 17th all time. So scoring is it? Elvin Hayes. I apologize to the Elvin Hayes fan club, but I don't think scoring's that big of a deal. I mean, you got to be able to score. So what I'm saying is, and he's 29 years old, meaning he's on a path to surpass Michael and LeBron. If he wins this year, he's going to have a third title, third team, third finals MVP, all-star MVP, defensive player of the year. There's only one player in the history of the league that has more than 3 finals MVPs. There's only one. That's MJ. So he's going to have 3 of those. If he wins this year, he's one of the 5 best players in league history. MJ, LeBron, Magic, Kareem, Kawhi. Those are the 5 best players ever. If he wins the title and is MVP, look at the clubs he's in. He's in the clubs with all these guys and Akeem Olajuwon. Well, he's scoring. It's never been. We don't talk about Karl Malone on this show. We don't talk about Dirk and Elvin Hayes and Moses Malone. We don't talk Dominique Wilkins. We bash Melo. It ain't a scoring league. That's not what you tell me matters. You've never said that matters. What matters is you're the best player on the best team, and they go to you. Who, in your opinion today, if I said, who's the best get a bucket, get a stop guy in the NBA? And it's not LeBron. Now, Giannis may be the get a stop guy. And you could argue LeBron is the get a bucket guy. But I would argue the best get a stop and get a bucket guy in the league right now is Kawhi Leonard. That was MJ. That's what you tell me matters. Get a bucket, get a stop. MJ. Folks, we're 3 months away. Top 5. What about Kobe? Kobe was never the get-a-stop guy in the NBA. Kobe didn't have all those clubs. Kobe's not in those clubs. And Kobe had the best coach. Think about this. If this cat wins with the Clippers, he'll have won finals MVP, youngest ever with Popovich and his rigid system. Then he goes to Canada. Hell, Canada can't even win in hockey anymore. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since the early 90s. That's their sport. They can't even win in hockey. He goes to Canada and wins. And then he's going to go to the Clippers, who have never gone to the conference finals and have been around forever. And you don't think he's a top 10? I'd put him right after Kareem.
Download the all-new Fox Sports app now.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.